The number 76 has picked up all kinds of meanings on the internet, a meme here, a reference there, inside jokes, song remixes, height jokes, and even tech codes people barely understand. But today, I'm giving it a meaning you've never heard before. A meaning connected to my life, and the darkness that shaped me. See, yes, I'm 6 feet 7 inches, or as kids on the street like to say, 6'7", 76. My parents split when I was young, and the divorce cracked something inside me. By the time I turned 15, I had run away from my mother's house to live with my father, only to find he'd replaced me with a new wife and a stepson he adored more than anything. I was baggage. A problem. So they shipped me off to my grandparents, two people just as broken as the rest of my family. My grandfather had slipped into mental decay, and my grandmother never missed a chance to rip apart whatever confidence I had left. Stop standing there like a waste, she'd snap. No wonder everyone abandoned you. I don't know what switch flipped inside me that day, but I ended them. Both of them. The strange part? I didn't feel fear. Not guilt. Just silence for the first time in my life. And I didn't run. Didn't hide. I called the police myself. Nobody could make sense of how a 15-year-old boy could do something so brutal without being completely insane. So naturally, they threw me into a maximum security psychiatric hospital. And here's the twisted truth, that place became home. The guards respected me because I never caused trouble. The doctors thought I was recovering faster than expected. Even the other patients, some of the most unpredictable people you could imagine, treated me like a friend. Turns out my family environment was more toxic than any asylum could ever be. After 6-7 years of therapy, evaluations, and discipline, they finally released me. They believed I was cured. They believed I had changed. They believed wrong.
I walked out with nowhere to go but back to my mother's house. And from the second I stepped inside, it felt like stepping straight back into the hell I came from. We argued daily, shouting, throwing things, slamming doors. Eventually, I moved into my own apartment, but she wouldn't let go. Constant phone calls. Random visits. She'd bang on my door, accuse me of abandoning her, then pretend nothing happened the next day. The pressure started building again, inch by inch, like a pot ready to explode. And I needed an outlet. Something to quiet the roaring storm in my head. I lived near a university, and the campus was always full of young women walking alone at night, trusting strangers, trying to get rides home. Hitchhiking wasn't common anymore, but when it happened, I took advantage of it. Hitchhiking back then was dangerous because of people like me. Need a lift? I'd ask. Yeah, thank you so much. And they'd smile, not knowing they were stepping into hell. I'd drive them off route, into silent backroads and empty fields, where no one could hear the screams. And every single time, they realized too late. The begging, the crying, the panic, none of it reached me. I had become numb long before I ever touched a steering wheel. Those nights were a blur of breathless fear and the cold quiet afterwards. Then one day, sitting with a girl tied in front of me, I suddenly felt nothing. Not satisfaction. Not excitement. Not anger. Just emptiness. I realized I preferred my life back in the psych ward, where structure existed. Where noise inside my head had a place to go. But before I turned myself in, I knew there was one last thing, one last person, standing between me and peace, my mother. The woman who started it all. The root of the chaos in my blood. I walked into her house quietly that night. Ed? Is that you? Close the door, I'm trying to sleep, she mumbled. It's time, I whispered. She didn't even have a chance to scream. When I finally turned myself in, people said the same thing they always did. How could someone 6 feet 7 inches do all that and still act normal? But darkness doesn't need size. It needs motive, and I had plenty. This became known as part of the 76 incidents, the story of the 6 feet 7 inches serial killer Edmund Keir, who entered the true crime world like a ghost nobody saw coming. Doctors once declared him cured, but he proved otherwise, carving an 11-month trail of terror before ending the woman who raised him in madness. But the 76 stories don't stop with him. Another tragedy carries the number 2. For me, 76 is the date everything fell apart. June 7th, 7 to 6, the day I lost everything. Back then, I had a multi-million-dollar law firm, a wife I adored, a son who struggled but always tried, and a powerboat I was way too proud of. We were out on the river that day, my wife, my son, and his girlfriend. After fishing and eating near the docks, we had all been drinking, too much. My son offered to drive the boat. I hesitated. He insisted. And stupidly, I handed him the wheel. The river was dark, the air thick, the water cold, and my son, drunk and overconfident, pushed the throttle like he was invincible. "Paul, slow down," I yelled. "Relax, Dad. I got it." He didn't. We hit the bridge before anyone could react. The crash threw all of us into the black water. Panic swallowed everything. My ears rang, my eyes burned, and I clawed my way to the surface, searching for my family. Somehow, only 3 of us made it. My son's girlfriend never resurfaced. They found her body miles downriver days later. My son was arrested for her death, boating under the influence. My wife blamed me. I blamed myself. Everything crumbled after that. And then, years later, I came home to find them both dead. Murdered. Executed. Everyone believed it was revenge for the girl who died on the boat. Everyone except me. Something felt wrong. And I wasn't about to sit still and become their next target. Not when I still had the chance to uncover the truth behind 76 June 7th, the day my life shattered twice. But the darkest 76 story belongs to someone else entirely. My father was 76 when his world ended. After my mom died, he was lonely, painfully lonely, and he decided to take in a woman named Natasha. A homeless addict with a violent past. He didn't know any of that. He only saw someone who needed help. I begged him to stay away from her. She was manipulative, volatile, dangerous. But he insisted. And soon, she took over his apartment like a storm, drugs everywhere, strangers coming in and out, paranoia, screaming matches in the hallway. Every visit left me more terrified for him. Then one night, he called me. Not talking. Not breathing. Just raw panic in the background. I drove like a man possessed. I kicked the door open. And what I saw froze me to the marrow. Natasha was sitting on top of my father, stabbing him over and over. Blood everywhere. She looked like an animal cornered, feral and wild. When she saw me, she jumped up with the knife. If I hadn't grabbed her wrist, she would have carved me open too. She ran before I could stop her. My father died before help arrived. She was caught later, high out of her mind, babbling nonsense. Now the number 76 haunts me everywhere, his age, the date, the reminder of how fast life can disappear. And every time someone jokes about the number online, it punches the air out of my lungs. Because for me, 76 isn't a meme. It's the day everything was taken away.